I want to thank Baroness Cassair for taking time to teach this class today. I'm sure that she has plenty of useful information for us to all gather from her. And as I mentioned earlier, the harassment policy needs to be read. The SCA prohibits harassment and bullying of all individuals and groups. Participants engaging in this behavior are subject to appropriate sanctions. If you are subjected to harassment, bullying, or retaliation, or if you become aware of anyone being harassed or bullied, contact a seneschal, president of the SCA, or your kingdom's board. And with that, I will stop presenting and hand it over to you, Jody.
Cool. Thank you.
Baroness Cassair, sorry.
All is well. So I think, thank you guys for coming. And this is my hair model who looks strikingly like the prince because this is his kid. She's my kid too, but she looks just like him. And she has the prince's hair. So she's super lucky that way. But what I wanted to show you guys tonight was last week was a braiding class. And we did 2-strand and 3-strand braiding. And then French braiding, English braiding. We messed around a little bit with 4-strand braiding because it's fun. And this week, what I wanted to show was some hair sewing and some hair tying. And I'm also going to show how to pin a balun once a hair is braided up and sewn in or tied in, because it just is an incredibly easy thing to do, and show a couple different ball pins and sizes if we get to it, because I think it just makes a really big difference. And then I wanted to show some mundane tools that I use, as well as, when you get a little farther into it, the medieval, I believe some of the medieval tools that can be used as well. So some of the mundane tools that I adore and have used by accident, or I kind of came across and went, oh, that'll be perfect, is so this is, if you guys can see this, let me get closer. If you can see this, I use this is kind of an eyeball dowel sewing needle. Works super well. It's a little sharp. You got to be a little careful with the edge. Like you can hurt someone with that. And another one that I really like for hair sewing, see if I can get it here, is this is an upholstery needle. And this is just fantastic because it just goes right through the braids really beautifully. So these are some of the mundane ones that I use a lot. And this is a bone needle. Oop, this does not need to be here right now. Hang on. This is a bone. It's called a hair tying needle. I actually found out that it's also, oh my goodness, Osa uses them when she does the knitting, something else, nail binding. So I had a bunch of these made so I could give them out when I was teaching how to do hair tying. I had like 10 or 12 of these made out of wood. And then Osa took one and started doing nail binding. And I was like, I don't know what nail binding is, but if it works for nail binding, that makes, yeah, see? And I will continually argue that whatever you use for hair is because it was left over from something else. We were not in a stage at that time where we had a huge amount of resources to do, oh, look, I'm going to make a special thing for hair. No, you had leftover from the bottom of your dress, so it went in your hair. You had string left over, and that's what you used to tie off the ends of your hair. We just didn't make special needles for hair. We use these across all different things. And then one of my friends had this. I watched. Okay, she had the cutest dog ever. And if any of you guys follow me on Facebook, you know that I do dogs all the time. And so she came back from Pensican. Okay, well, maybe not today or yesterday. My dog almost died yesterday, but only because he was a jerk. No, he didn't really die. He hopped up on my desk and knocked everything off my desk looking for dog treats while I was in a session with a dad and a young man. There's no reason for that other than that's what he decided to do at that moment. So, and then hopped down and was indignant that I didn't give him a treat for some strange reason. But this is another needle that is, yeah, go ahead. You can hold it right up there. And you can see that it's much smaller in the hole there, so it'll be much harder to do nail to do some of the hair tying with. It'll work well for the smaller thread. And then, so those are the needles that I use. And then I always carry black thread. Go ahead, Hannah. And white thread. Like always, I always carry them because it'll probably match something that you're wearing.
Well, black and white are like the two main.
So, and then I always carry scissors. And then for hair tying, strangely, I don't have any bias tape right now or any cotton bias tape. We're kind of out everywhere because people are using them for making masks. But I like cotton bias tape to do hair tying with. But I do have pretty ribbon, but I don't recommend satiny ribbon because it's satiny and therefore it slides through your hair. The cotton or linen holds really nicely. But for today, I actually got some things that will contrast in Hannah's hair. So when we do the tying, you'll be able to see it. But I did want to show you, I had this made. This is wool. And I actually, for some of the Roman looks, I actually do tie this into my hair for a couple of the Roman looks that I'm doing. And it's actually, one, it's a stunning color, and two, it's wool. So it holds perfectly with some 2-strand braids. There is the very naughty dog, if you can see him. He's probably going to hop up in a minute. The very naughty dog.
Choking.
No. No, you're not. He's fine. So, okay, you need to put, thank you. Seriously? All right, so what I'm not going to do a full crown braid on her today, but we're trying to do this a little bit better so you guys can see it. Can you move forward a little bit, please? Thank you. What we kind of learned last time was that we needed better lighting. And strangely, I had some on the way, so we got lucky. There we go. So, and we're back to the same thing again. So what I thought I would do, guys, is just do a quick, show you how to tie off the ends first. Here, I'm going to do it like that. So you guys, can you all see that? Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, some of you guys, I can't see your faces, but I'm assuming you can see it. I'm just going to do a quick English braid. I'm going to do the hair sewing first. Thank you. You guys see? What I am going to recommend, because modern times we're quite used to, here, let me see. I'm going to use I happen to really love this circular needle, so I'll use this one right now, is cut your string in advance. We're used to rubber bands already. So we're already, oh, do the braid, get the braid done. Then all of a sudden you have to hold the braid while you cut your string. That so doesn't work because you need 2 hands. So do this in advance because you need it. All right, you do that part.
All right.
Thank you.
It's like the one thing I hate.
You hate lots of things. Work, cleaning, waking up in the morning, anything your mother says.
Got it.
Yeah, see? Thank you.
I'm a little cross stitching.
Thank you. So we'll mess around with this needle first. And we'll do a quick English braid. And just so you guys know, her hair is already, actually, I should probably wet it a little bit. She loves this too so much. She loves being sprayed with cold water at 7 o'clock at night. But she went swimming a couple hours ago because the other thing is take your rings off before you put conditioner in anybody's hair. And if you're like me, you leave your rings in everybody else's pockets. And you have to go chase them down at an event later because you're like, dude, lost my ring. So, and again, for those that missed last week, this is how you sort of get the condition of medieval hair, or how I do it without any gel or hairspray or anything. And they wet it down and I put conditioner in it.
I found this on the web.
No, you didn't. So. Just going English braid. You see how it's setting up?
You're hired.
Thank you. And finishing it off. Coming around so you guys can see it a little bit better. I brought your soda in for you. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Just goob. All right. So you take this. Thank you. And what I really love about the curved needle, and I can show you more about it later, is it just pops right through the braid. See that, guys? Just pops right through. Pop it through a couple times. Nobody really cares. The problem with hair sewing and proving it is quite often, you know, the bodies were dead and this sort of fiber rotted. So we can't really tell what they did. And I'm leaving quite a long line on here because I'm going to actually sew it up in a minute to here. It's actually a Viking do that I'm going to do next week too, but it's the same thing. It's not exactly the same thing. It's a little different, but so you just sort of, if I'd left this longer on the other side, which of course they didn't this time, you just wrap it around a bunch of times. Tie it off. And there you go. And it stays. And that's just the simple tie off. The next thing, if we wanted to do, and I'll use this needle because it's kind of fun and easier to thread. I got it. Thank you for your immediate assistance on that. She looks so compliant here, doesn't she? All right, so what happens next, and this is actually is a real hairstyle, is you see here, like this here, I'm trying to get it so you can get it into the light, is you can take the thread right here, and you just literally sew the hair in, guys. That's it.
Now cutting.
Yeah, I'm trying not to stick you in the butt. And I know my daughter's hair really well, hence why this looks and shapes up so easily. But there you go. That's sewed in. And that literally, you know, wanted, it could stay a week, 2 weeks. It may get a little fuzzy. But, and then what you do to tie it off is you just put it right through here. like that. Cut off the ends. That's it. And we've just sewed a braid in. Now, if I wanted to do a crown braid, obviously I'd have to do that a little differently. I can take that out and do it a little differently. But that's sewn in. Do you guys see that?
Yeah, it was very simple.
Yeah. And it's actually really comfortable. So I hear, I haven't done it on myself yet, but so I hear with people with really long hair, this is actually physically very comfortable because it distributes the weight. So if you guys want to unmute, does anybody have questions about this so far? I'm seeing no movement or unmuting so far. So no.
No, I'm good.
Okay. So let's turn you
I
around.
have a quick question, if you can hear me okay.
Yeah, gotcha.
My hair is long enough that in one single braid it comes down to my belt.
Uh-huh.
If you're doing this, where do you put the rest of the hair? Long.
So you can continue this all the way around.
Yeah.
In the braid. It depends on where you start the braid and finish the braid. If the braid is in the center, you can absolutely do this all the way around the head. If you start the braid like right here and keep it going. You also don't need to braid it. That was something else I was going to show if we had time at the end. You can actually, so there's a hairstyle, I think it's 13th century German, I'm not sure, that is just sewn hair. But you just keep going and going and going. And I was going to show a crown braid in a little bit where I was going to English braid her around and then have the leftover braid. And you just keep sewing the braid in until it's all done. It doesn't matter how long your hair is. You just keep going. Because like right now, so say this is, here, turn to the side. So let's pretend this is your hair. You just keep going. Yeah, I know. So I actually picked this. This was Margarita's hair for one of her hairstyles. And then she went and dyed her hair black like a week before the court. Like, thanks. That's great. She looked great in it. So I couldn't even complain. You just keep, turn this way, Hannah. I'll show it to you once I braid in her other side, but you just keep putting it in and sewing it in. And if it comes into the other braid, you just start sewing these two braids. Let me turn this away. Oh, you're so helpful. You're like Riley. So you just put those two braids together.
I see. Okay, that makes sense.
You sew those two braids together. And if
Would you use colored?
Exactly the same thing. What?
Would you use a different color when you're sewing two together?
Mm-mm.
To give it that?
Honestly,
No.
I'm going to use the same thread. I'm going to make that thread long enough to keep it really stable and keep going to use it.
Okay.
So, and that makes it really stable and strong. And that's how you hold your two pieces. What I would try to do is make thread that matches the hair, so I don't see the sewing at all. When I'm doing this so you guys can see it, but often I'll go through the braids so that you guys don't see it at all. So it looks like I'm super magical when I'm doing the hair. So.
Thank you.
So does that help?
Absolutely.
So you have that kind of hair, but I can show you I was going to actually show you guys how to sew in some extensions if we had time. So what?
It smells.
Yes, it smells. It's fake plastic hair. Been sitting in a box because we're not going to events anymore. She's putting her feet up, leaning back right now. It's so hard to be a Rossman in this house, isn't it? All right. So that's hair sewing. Are there other questions, guys, while I get ready to do the other side? I'm looking at my screens to see if there's anything. No? Okay. Right. Don't move or anything. Just like, no, Mom, no reason to. I'm good. The dog just walked out between us.
The dog's like, I'm gonna come in and lay under the desk. And then the minute Mom moves closer to him, he's like, I'm out.
Well, it's because we don't have any food. Okay.
It's Dad.
Yeah, Dad can get him. All right. So I'll start this one a little higher so we can have a little bit more of a braid to work with. Feedback sounds going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. So that would be our dog yelling at the birds of the east, let me out. There we go. All right, and I showed you guys this last time. See how this one is thinner than the other two? So I'm going to go under with this one and this, and I'm going to leave some in the middle to try to start evening these out. There we go. Saying you can't even see it. I mean, I can sort of see it because I know, because I'm just like that. But that's how you get it all the way to the end like that. Okay. And so here I'm using my bone needle this time. And I'll hop up through. And again, this is nice. It's not going to draw as much blood. So, and I'm holding the end in my finger. And I'm just going to wrap it around. And this one I'm going to tie with, I'm going to do some hair tying. This one. And sometimes if you don't have enough, can you hold this, Hannah? Go ahead. Hold it out like that. That helps a lot to get the tension. If you want to get a nice tight tension on this, do this a lot. Especially, you know, if I didn't cut the string long enough. Okay, thank you. So, and then what we're going to do is a little bit of hair tying. What color do you want, Hannah? Do you want the burgundy yarn or do you want the gold?
Yeah.
Okay. And so with this, to hair tie, you're going to need a needle that's going to hold it in there. And then I'm going to do this to show you how to put it up into a thing. And yeah, I'm just doing this here. I could have done a crown braid, but your dog just took off after something.
Oh,
Great. But a crown braid, I was trying to figure out how to show a crown braid on all of this. And I figured just a sample here. Crown braids take practice and dexterity with fingers too. And honestly, if you're going to try to do a crown braid, have the person sit on the floor with a lot of space for you to walk all the way around and get a cousin it with their hair, and then you'll lay that crown braid down perfectly. So, but the first is to do the crown braid. But so here's what we're going to do is sew this in. And with this, you have to pay nice attention to getting the ribbon to lay flat, because the ribbon gets prissy. And this is, you'll see this a lot on Italian Ren, guys. This used to be in the SCA. Now I'm really dating myself. Super popular along like 15 years ago. Italian Ren was the thing. Some people were doing this a lot. Viking is the thing now. But hair taping is just pretty. Going. Going. And you see how the hair is sort of sliding through? It's because it's satin, not cotton. And then I would, on this, and I'll show you on this head, because normally I would slide it on the inside down. Just show you guys, I'm sliding it on the outside down, so you guys can see me do it. I'm kind of bringing it down. See how it comes down like that? And then turn. So I can tie it off back here, like that. Okay, pretty easy. As you get better, you'll make all of this nicer, neater. Again, because I'm using satin, it's not going to lay nice and flat, but you'll get it flatter, and then you can go back down. You can make pretty X's. You can do whatever you want with it. Now, that's a simple hair tying. That's a sample of it. Normally what I would do is I would do a crown braid all the way around her head, and then we would tie it up. And then what happens next is that we would do some pinning of veils in. So there's that. Yeah.
Funny how I have two different hairstyles.
Yeah, you have two different, one on each side. You have yin and yang. So I wanted to show you that. Make sense? All right, the next thing I wanted to show you, on my picture this weekend, part of the reason for all of this is, hold still, she hates this, so she hates veils a lot. Lots of people hate veils. And I think it's a shame, because veils, when you do this much on your hair, they work really well. So I wanted to show you guys a couple different ways to. So if you ever find me, I always have veil pins. Always. Let's see where we are. And I have a ton of them that my friends make me, because I always give them away. Always. Like, so I always have at least 20 veil pins, and you get to pick your favorite colors, and I will put them in your hair. I will put a braid in your hair, and I will put, see, Hannah, blue for you. So see how this braid sticks out right here? That is because this was invented to do this. And even with the hair its own side, she's pouting. It's great. I think she's only doing this so that the queen loves her more than she loves me. Just so you know. Am I wrong? See, but now this veil, this long, huge veil, is going nowhere. Go ahead, turn your head. See? She has a sort of Princess Leia sort of thing going on here. But that's how you pin a veil in. My favorite veil pins are these really nice, there we go, super long ones like this. Then I had Patrick make me some, and then I keep giving them away because I'm not smart. But these veil pins work perfectly. So when you pin in hair, and you'll see some lines in some portraits where you can almost see the stripes in there when the lines come up and hold things over or go over the top. That if you can braid underneath and or not tape in, it holds the veils perfectly. So are there questions, guys? Did you want to see what it looks like to tape up without a braid?
Sure.
Okay. Means I have to take one of these out. Why, so you don't have to move?
So, as a slightly different culture, I do German, which Jody might at least know.
Yeah.
But I will often do a braid over the top of my head and do the hair taping there, and that actually makes a really good base to hold my Wolfstub on.
Yeah, it goes right here.
Makes the bump even bigger. So
Yeah.
it has other uses too.
Yeah, and I've done these to hold coifs in and stuff like that too, which I think is really neat. Yeah, I love, it makes it really comfortable and all of a sudden it makes sense. So I haven't done this in a while, so let's see how this goes. Maybe I shouldn't do it with a stabby one.
That would be nice.
All right. I think it really matters, but okay. All right. I'll take them both out and do both sides. So, and one of the questions I always get is, how do you take these out? And I say, well, first of all, don't be drunk. Find a string. Seriously, cut it. And it'll eventually come out. And just, try not to cut your hair. Cut the string, not your hair.
Jess will kill you.
Uh-huh. And it'll come out, it'll be fine. Just, if you try to do this drunk, it's a bad plan. And if you sleep in it, your hair will be better. So please don't, rush. So.
And if you sleep in it, you can probably wear it the next day too, because it stays in really well.
A little bit of water and you smooch it right over and everybody would be like, your hair looks so great. Typically how it goes. You're fine.
No, I think I sunburned my head.
Yeah, I did. You're like, I'm not doing anything to
No,
hurt
I'm
you.
not doing anything when you touch my sunburn. I'm just like, ow.
May I remind you that we have sunscreen child. This child is 18 years old. This is not a person responsible for herself.
Dog.
The dog is taking sympathy on you. Go. Thank you. All right. So when I talk about the cousin it hairdo, sorry. Okay. Well, I'm probably gonna hurt if you have a sunburn right there.
You can see it, bro.
Yeah. Well, no, not looking. Turn toward the camera. See, that's the cousin. That's her face right there. Thank you. We're gonna wet this down a little bit again. It's starting to stick.
From the chlorine, maybe?
From the conditioner. Send your face?
Yeah, my eye.
It's water.
I'm too tired.
Yeah, you are. You didn't get your 4-hour midday nap today.
No.
Don't. So what I kind of learned, and for the one with the really long hair, is it Susan who has the really long hair? Or is it Jay? If you can't,
Yeah, I'm Cheryl. Jay's my wife. We're using her account.
yeah,
She
sorry.
does like it. I just have it.
What you want to do is with your hair, definitely start on one side, or whoever's doing your hair, start on one side of the back of your hair. But for that, here, turn around. There we go. We're going to, so while it looks like it's just hair being held, it's actually being twisted and held. So, but you'll see when we come back around here, it will matter because it makes a really pretty braid here. May not have enough, but we'll see. And I don't know if you guys can see this, but the bone is a little bit curved, and that actually really helps. I suspect there's a reason for it in nail binding, but since I do hair, it does help with the hair too. We just twist it up. And we're just going to sew it in. And there's nothing holding it at first, so you can't sew it in that tight until you get it to grip. Okay, turn this. So this is one of the hairstyles, and the other one that I was thinking of is literally where you just, there's hair that you just sew right along the edge like that. And you can just sew it right so you can see it. I've seen hair pulled back into the back and then another hairstyle pulled up like that. I'm going to kind of crown braid her into this because I'm kind of having fun with this right now. Come around. You're going to have to. Your feet. Anna, do me a favor and just hold this string. Yeah.
Did I lose it?
I don't know. Nope, you got it. Oh, you almost lost it. That's your hair. Right here. Thank you. And you see how you just kind of keep going? Can you guys see that?
Well, that looks nice.
Yeah, and it's literally just twisting it. But now I'll sew it in. And she's complaining. Normally I would not do this to someone, but you go.
It's not because of your hair braid.
No, it's your neck I'm worried about.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
It's again, it's my sunburn.
It's your sunburn.
For somebody that has really long hair, it would look really nice. I
Yeah.
can see that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, anybody with long hair, almost anything you do. I need more. I'm going to pin this in for right now just because it's being cantankerous. And by the time I was done, I should have given myself longer string to work with.
Oops, sorry, Tick. You're making love to the camera, Tick. Sorry, my cat is mauling the mic. I'm gonna mute myself for a bit.
Okay. But you see, that's just literally just it's a circular crown braid. It's really not a thing. And yet, all done. All up in. Mess around with it a little bit, put some sticks in it. Stay for days. So, and if you wanted to secure it more, you could tie it with some ribbon, but that's super messy. You could also crown braid it and do the same thing. But now it's tied in, and if you wanted to sew it more, you could sew it more in and it would stay. But that's literally just rolled in. So, if it left more string, it would have stayed better. But that's just me goofing around.
I think it looks nice.
Yeah, it's all right. It's a little messy in the front, but I'm a pretty harsh critic on my hair, so. But
It looks really functional too. Like trying to fit all this hair in a helmet is often a pain in the ass. So like,
yeah,
that's awesome.
right. I mean, and now literally that is also part of what people forget is that. Go ahead, you're all set. You can turn around if you want or take it down. Is that, hair is not always about, I can do a hair that would be in a portrait, but so often hair needs to function. Yeah, you can take it out if you want. You want me to get it out?
No, I got it. You.
Okay. The hair needs to function. And that's an awful lot of what the braids were for. Is it, you can get a braid in a certain spot and it's meant to hold a veil. It's meant to hold your German cap. It's meant to hold, I forgot what those caps are called with the ties down here. But braiding is really so much more about how to get the rest of the look right. So I think that, I love that part about this, actually. So I have a circlet right now. that a Roman circlet, and it's taken me about 2 months to figure out how to get all the twists and curls right to hold the circlet in the right spot. And then the pollock, which by the way is 15 yards of linen or wool, and you have to pin that all in the right way, because walking without that is awful. Because that has to be. I don't have staff in this house that will realign that the right way. So this is all about function. It's fantastic to think about in my mind. So, and yeah, she'll have this out in about 12 more seconds. Here,
Pulling the thing and
here, I got it.
not coming out.
Let go. Now you got it. You pull it out now. So, but yeah, so it's a matter of what you needed to do. And I'll argue whether we can document it or not. If your techniques and your materials are period, chances are somewhere along the way somebody did it because we would have needed it to do it. So
The string in my hair.
yeah, the string's right here.
All of it.
So this knotted up a little bit. So are there other questions? There you go. I wanted to show you guys this. I used it's issue number 145, the complete anachronist. There's some stuff in here. There's some stuff in here debunked a little bit, because she some of it's gorgeous and her braiding is stunning. And some of it is she cites gravestone work, and I've tried to redo it, and I kept falling out. So I redid all of her pins, I made all of her stuff, and I did all of it, and it kept falling out. And so,
Because it was on the living room.
right, because I think there's a little bit of a difference between mortuary work and living people work. So for me, I take either like bog bodies or statues, or and sort of evolve what I try to do with hairstyles from there, because people move and people, we are, I kind of like, I call it like medieval Snapchat filters, like, what it looked like then. Like if you had a portrait done, would you show all the strings that were involved in that hairstyle, on a medieval bust? Some do. If you look, some are incredibly detailed, and they will show you literally some of the strings and some of the stitches and some of it. But then also there's some that you just don't see because there's a transition from front to back. And in the busts, they don't carve out those details into the hairstyles. They just don't. And I call it Snapchat filters. Why would they? We wouldn't. That's why I have my Snapchat filters, so that you don't see the flaws of the portrait. You see the gorgeousness of the portrait, because that's what you're supposed to see. So how do you make it flow the way you want it to, and look the way you want it to, and get it, the way it needs to look? So with the materials that you have at hand. So we figure it out as we go along. And then again, how do we make it function? How does it fit under a helmet? How does it fit under a veil? What veil do I have? How much hair do I have? What style fits on my face? Because my face isn't that face. Like I'm supposed to wear my parts down the middle. I'm not going to wear my parts down the middle because I look terrible with my parts down the middle. So I'm not wearing my part. I don't care what the Roman bust says. My parts are going down the side. So, how are we going to do this? And how does it fit with all of our hair and everything? So, that's sort of my thought process around all of this. So, anyways, and I could go on for hours because I really love hair. So I should probably stop because it's almost 8 o'clock. Are there any other questions, guys?
No, I'm good. Thank you, Hannah.
Thank you. Next week, we're going to do some Viking hair, I think. I think it's next week. I don't have confirmation on that, but I think so. So we're going to do some top knots. Yay.
I'll make sure my head isn't burned.
Well, yeah, I'm sure you will. We'll try. And some side knots. And then there's a back Viking style that her hair is a little short for it, but it's super pretty. That I kind of wanted to show some people.
I do have extensions on there.
We have, it's, well, I guess we could weave some extensions in if we wanted to. And then I have some Viking hair sticks as well that some of my friends did some research for me to show me that it was like a thing. And then in 2 weeks, I'm hoping to get a couple of you guys to go, okay, this is a portrait. How do we dissect this portrait? What's it look like? Let's just take a look at this and how, because that's how I do mine, is I take a look at pictures and then I rip them apart and try to figure out what is what and where and how do we put this together for a look. So and then match it with whatever the person has on hand. So that's kind of what I'm hoping to do with this series. And then if there's anybody who has any other ideas or needs, we can go from there. So thank you for coming. I love this so much. If you need, I know we're keeping, I'm going to say the same thing again. If you need to find me, the easiest way to find me is I'm the head attendant on Albrecht and Tyndall's Reign right now. So my email is on there, and I'm on Facebook as Jody Rockauer Rossman, and you can find me on either of those. I've been doing hair for
Ever.
longer than this one's been alive.
Like forever.
Yeah, forever.
You need a princess hairstyle done.
Yeah, I can do all of the Disney princesses because of this one. We did them in 6-month increments all the way through elementary school. Jasmine was great on her. But yeah, so any questions, feel free to ping me. We have a lot of fun. I've done a lot of wigs too, and cancer and all sorts of different things like that for different Canadians that had different needs happening at different times. So a lot of different things. So anyways, thank you so much for coming, and we'll see hopefully some of you guys next week. And
Thank you for
And I
having us.
doing this.
I just want to say thank you from the Ministry of Arts and Sciences for teaching. It was a pleasure to join you.
Thank you. All right, bye
Bye.
guys.
Thanks so much. We'll see you next week.
Stopping
Cool.
recording now.